Hello there, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for watching, subscribing and sharing my videos. Today's video is about 12 common mistakes new DJI Mini 2 owners make. New owners who haven't flown before make some common mistakes that may lead to either loss of your new drone or may hurt someone. If you just bought your new drone or planning to buy one, watch this video to know the common mistakes that new owners make. If you avoid these mistakes, you can make sure that you have your drone safe and everyone around you will be safe. Please note, this video is important for any drone owner, any new drone owner. It's not only specifically for DJI Mini 2. Number one mistake is not checking the memory in the DJI Mini 2. The DJI Mini 2 drone does not have a hard disk or internal memory in it. That means you need to make sure you check if the memory card is there. This is the only thing that will keep the photos and videos that you'll be recording. In case you take it out for a shooting without checking if the card is there or if the card has space, then you'll be wasting your time because you'll not be able to record anything on it. The card must be free of space so that you can be recording photos and video on it, and it must be there. Otherwise, if it's not there, you have nowhere of keeping your videos or photos. It helps if you have a second card just in case this one malfunctions or it's full, then you can replace and have another card. The second common mistake is not checking the safety settings. The safety settings may be set in the beginning after installation of the DJI Fly app, but sometimes if the environment is changing, you may need to look at the settings again. I'm talking about settings for the maximum height or maximum altitude, settings for maximum distance you want it to fly before it returns. If it goes beyond that distance, it can come back without, the moment it goes beyond that distance, it will have to come back. Settings for the battery level, when it will warn you if the battery is going down, and when it has to return, if the battery is at what level. If you don't pay attention to these settings, you may lose your drone. It may go out of range and you lose it. Maybe by the time you try to track it, it is out of battery and it cannot even fly back. Third common mistake is not checking the battery level. That is for the drone itself. Is it full? And that can be easily checked by just pressing the button. The controller, does it have enough battery charge? And the monitor or the device that you're using to see what you're recording. These must be checked before you start flying. Otherwise, if your drone is low on battery, it may not help you because it won't go very far before it runs out of the battery. Maximum it can go is about 26 minutes because you need to consider time coming back. While they're selling, they say 30 minutes, but remember it has to return to your location. It has to return home. If it goes 5 kilometers away from you, consider you need some battery life to make it to fly it back to where you are. The controller too needs to have power because if it goes out of battery, then how can you get your drone back? The display should also be with enough battery power. Well, this will charge it, the controller will charge the display while using it, but still needs to be having full battery. People who buy the DJI Mini 2 with the Fly More combo pack, they get 3 batteries and the charger. This helps them because you'll have 3 batteries you can always change if they're all full. However, if they're also all empty, then it doesn't help you. So important is to check the batteries if they're all fully charged. If not, charge them before you plan your journey. Fourth mistake is not checking the surrounding environment. Some obstacles like tall buildings, like trees, like valleys and hills may make flying very difficult or very complicated. For example, crowded places, if it's a forest or a bush, this may not be very easy, especially if you need to land your drone. And the risk with not checking the surroundings properly may extend from losing the drone to hurting someone or hurting yourself or hurting animals. For example, if it's a park with birds flying around, it is risky to put your drone up. The bird may look at it as something to eat, or it may hurt the bird in the process, or you lose it if the bird is strong enough. Fifth mistake is not putting into consideration the landing platform or launching platform. Landing or launching a drone, for example, on top of a car or on the vehicle hood may be complicated. The same even applies if you're shooting inside the building, because some devices, some gadgets may interfere with the GPS signal and the compass operations. That makes landing very complicated and hard. You may need to land manually, and also you may consider hand landing or hand launching. If you're flying for the first time, then make sure you go out where you have proper landing platform, big enough space, so that you avoid hand landing on the first flight. It's not safe to have your first landing and first launching in your hands. It may be dangerous. The sixth mistake is not checking the flight mode and pushing so hard your controllers. If your flight is in sport mode and you push so hard, this drone will just take instructions from the controller. It will move so fast. And in case you are in a place with a lot of obstacles, you may end up hitting a wall or hitting any of these obstacles. This drone does not have obstacle avoidance sensors, so that means you may risk losing it. It only has sensors at the bottom for landing and launching, but on the sides there are no obstacle resistance sensors. If it's your first flight, make sure you put it in cine or in normal so that the speed is controlled. And also when you're pushing the controls, don't push so hard. Please control your speed so that you don't crash your drone on the first flight. Seventh mistake, people not paying attention to the weather condition. We know the DJI Mini 2 is a bit resistant and stable in windy conditions. However, it's good not to put it into very strong winds. If it's about to rain, or if there's a very strong wind or a sandstorm, I think it's better not to put out your drone. You may risk losing it. It's lightweight, less than half a kilogram, so putting it in strong winds or in a storm will be dangerous to it. And if it's raining, definitely this is not meant for use in water. It will be damaged and you lose it. The eighth common mistake is not paying attention to the direction of wind. This is especially important if you're trying to hand launch or hand land. When you're hand launching or hand landing, make sure the wind is coming from behind you towards the drone. Otherwise, if it's coming from the back of the drone towards you, this drone may fly into your face and hurt you. This is why it's very important to make sure you check for the direction of the wind. It's even better if there's no wind at all, because then the risk is less. But if there's any wind, make sure the wind's blowing from your back towards the drone and not from the drone towards your face. Ninth common mistake is not increasing the brightness of the display, especially if you're working outdoors. If the display is too dim, you won't be able to see some details on your display. That means you'll take your videos or shoot your photos, and once you put them on the computer, then you'll find that they're either too dark or overexposed, and this is not something that you want to happen. So always make sure that you have enough brightness on the display so that you can clearly see what you're recording or what you're shooting. The 10th mistake is confusing left and right of the drone and for the pilot. If you're flying a DJI Mini 2, its left will be your left and its right will be your right if it's facing away from you. But if it's facing you and the camera is facing you, then it changes. Your right will be its left and your left will be its right. So that's very important to note, that if the camera is facing you, then the directions will change. If you command it to go right, it will go to the left because that's its right. And if you command it to go to the left, it will go to the right because that's its right when it's facing you. But if it's facing away from you, you're facing the same direction, then left is left and right is right. Very important. This may seem easy, but if you're in sport mode, it may be dangerous. 11th mistake is not putting into consideration the time of the day that you're going to shoot outside. Middays are not very good for video or photos because the sunlight is so bright and the shadows are so dark. So the photos and the videos will not have that nice look. It's It's always better to take your videos and photos either in the morning hours or evenings when you have this natural light diffuser. The light is diffused naturally and the shadows are not so dark and the light is not so bright. So time of the day is important if you're going out to do a shooting, and it's a common mistake that many drone owners make. The last common mistake that new DJI Mini 2 drone owners make, or any other drone owners make, is exposing your photos and videos too light or too dark. You have enough controls on the DJI app. You can control your lighting, your exposure, you can control the ISOs, and you can control the shutter speed. This will help you to have a control of not having too much light to lose the details and not having too dark of the shootings or the footage. Another thing that may be very useful is to set the histogram and the exposure warnings. This will show you in case you're overexposing something. It will put zebras to tell you that this is too bright, and if it's dark, again you'll see on the histogram that is too dark. It's very important to set those in the app and to make use of it to avoid overexposing or underexposing your footage. This is all I have for you in this video. Please subscribe for more videos about the DJI Mini 2 and any other drones that I'll come across. Thank you, keep watching. See you in the next video.